Hello, Saskia, and hello, Sabrina, and hello to our audience. My name is Sydney Levine, and I write a blog on international film and teach about international film and work with the German film commissions on doing co-productions from United States producers. But I'm here today, very excited to be with Sabrina and Saskia, the writer. Sabrina is Sarabi and Saskia Rosendahl. Saskia is the actress and Sabrina is the writer, director of the film called No One's with the Calves, Niemand ist bei den Kälbern. And we will talk about the film that you all have just seen. So thank you. Welcome, Sabrina and Saskia.
Thank you for having us.
Sabrina, this is your second film after Prelude and a few shorts to your name. So it's a very brave effort because you've adapted it from a popular novel, which is a chore in itself. So we'll talk about that. And Saskia, you are quite a seasoned actress. I saw your first film, Lore, in 2012. It was fabulous. And I've seen your other ones. I loved Don't Look Back, incredible, and The Girl in the Spider's Web. So I've seen you do a lot of different roles, and I'm really interested in how you and Sabrina worked on this film. Sabrina, talk to you about your writer role rather than your director. How did you find this to be your property, and how was it adapting it into a script?
Actually, it felt really easy because when I read the novel, I had a lot of pictures in my head, and I was going to adapt a novel, so I was searching for novels for quite a time. And I think when I first read that, I immediately knew I wanted to do it. So that was like, it had a really easy start. And then we talked to the author of the novel, and I think it all had a really good starting point. And I think when I had a certain point when I was working on the adaptation where I thought, okay, I have to go to the Eastern German countryside, and I drove around for like a month. And I think during this period, I really experienced a lot of people there. And I think like after I came from that, I wrote the whole script and didn't really look into the novel anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the point where I really found my own access to the film, which was apart from the novel.
Okay, thank you. And just by the way, you're doing great in English, so thank you. Don't worry about it. Your English is next to perfect, really. What made the popularity of this novel? Did you adapt that also, the essence of whatever? I don't know what made it so popular. I didn't read it.
I think what made it for me popular was mainly the main character, actually, because I think she's a really fascinating figure, like a young woman just stuck in this lonely countryscape all by herself during all these men who don't talk to her. And for me, that was the fascinating point. I think it is for every reader, it's a different point, but that was what I found really fascinating was mainly this figure.
Thank you. And Saskia, you worked with Sabrina on Prelude. How did you two come together, and how did you deal with this character, which you played so brilliantly? I want to talk to you about how you played it, but how did you come to adapt yourself to it, and how did you two come together the second time?
So that was Sabrina's idea that we come together again.
I asked you.
Yeah, but I can say that we got really close friends by working together. So and I think we both are interested in the same topics, and we care about the same things and want to talk about it in a really similar way. So we trust each other, and we fight for the same thing. So that was really easy and to work together, and really easy to say that I want to work together with her again.
Mhm. And did you also read the novel?
No, I didn't, because we really from the start, actually, we decided that we want to also create our own story and own character. And if I had read the story, I guess I would always have it in mind as something that is the truth, and it's not, yeah, it's not the only truth. So we wanted to be a bit more free.
And Sabrina, you said it was about a woman who the men never talked to her. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. What I got was how animalistic she was, like a poor dumb animal who she loved in the movie. She loved these animals. So you're right. The men never talked to her. She was treated like just one of the animals in a way. Can you talk about that? I mean, I would not have explained it like that. Talk about how she developed her character as a kind of a poor dumb animal. Men never talked to her. What was that? Can you elaborate a bit?
I just heard my baby, so sorry. Can you can you repeat it for me? Sorry.
Well, I want to explain to whoever's watching. Sabrina has two little babies and it's time for their bed, so there could be interruptions here. So I noticed that she was, men never talked to her. You say it, and what I noticed was how she was like an animal. Her feelings only came out when she was treating the poor dead animals or the poor animals. And then oddly enough, she poisons a dog, which was like, what was that about? I want you to talk about. But the fact that men never talked to her, that they treated her like a poor dumb animal also. Can you talk more about that aspect and how that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that I realized a lot when I was driving around there, because it's like people work a lot on the countryside. They have like 7 hours a week, and like from 4 in the morning to in like midnight, they just work and work and work. And I think also that the private life is the same as the work life. Makes it difficult sometimes in terms of they don't take time for the private life, so it's just they all live on one farm together, and they never really have space to talk about their emotions, and like nobody ever does. And it's I think a very male dominated culture where just people don't talk about any emotions.
It's just part of the daily living.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, I realized that a lot, that there's so much work to do that people don't really have time for emotional interactions.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like the farm we were shooting at, it was the best example, because they were so lovely, like with us as well. They were super interested and welcoming, and really wanted to show also what their work is and their life experience. But it was hard for them as well to communicate that much. They really had not a lot of words when they were like trying to showing me how to milk the cows or whatever. It was more like learning by just watching them, because communication with other people was hard for them. With the animals it was super easy, and they really loved it.
So interesting. And your role, I mean, you were incredible. You started looking like a young woman and almost like a girl, and you ended looking like a little girl almost, but you had such a hardness to you and your eyes were so luminous. How did you, I mean, you had to express everything without talking. You never spoke.
Yeah, it's true. When I think about it, it was really, I mean, it's a way of also playing the character, which I really like, with like this, not using a lot of words, which was helpful. But then also we were talking a lot behind the scenes, like the biggest part of preparing for shooting and the character was talking. So that was helpful, because once you said everything and you know what the emotions and the scene are about, then you don't need the words that much anymore.
Wow. Well, it was brilliant acting. I can see why you won the Best Actor award at Locarno. It was so amazing. Your transformations, your changes. I wanted to ask another thing. I know it's about calves and cows and even babies. She doesn't want babies, and the father's new wife is pregnant, and her best friend's mother talks about how great it is to have babies. And the title is called Who's with the Calves, the baby cows. What does the title mean exactly? I mean, in terms of the movie, because it never comes up who's with the cows or the calves. So
yeah, it's no one's with the calf, so it's a direct translation from the German title, and I think basically it is about that nobody's really with the calves, like the literal calves, but for me the calves were also the inhabitants of the village, that like every inhabitant is a little bit lonely in his way and lost, and I was always that's why I loved the title so much, because it's also about the people and what happened to them after the reunification, and like the alcoholism of her father, and there's like so many really lost characters, and nobody's really taking care of them, and that's like the underlying meaning for me in the title.
I see. Okay. So it's like no one's taking care of any of the livestock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you never see the children ever, come to think of it. Just the people who've been abandoned in the system.
For me, the moment, like the strong picture, which is super strong connected to the title, is when she is sitting in the field with the calf that is dying or dead in the end, at least. And yeah, they are both calves in that moment, and both children who are left alone. And for me, it's also, for me at least, it's of course about the people in the villages, but it's also about everyone who feels connected to a certain loneliness or helplessness in society.
Yeah. Well, that was really touching. That scene with her in the field and the calf, it reminded me so much of an American painter, Andrew Wyeth. He has a picture of a woman in a field that so reminded me. And her name was Christina. It was called Christine, the picture. Were you aware of that, Sabrina, at all?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you should look at that picture.
Yeah.
It's such an American classic.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this hit on, for the American audiences, I think it resonates because it's about the people in the farmlands also who have been abandoned in our country. And the desolation that Christine felt in the field is shown also in that American movie. I mean, the next scene I expected to be the second most popular American classic painting, American Gothic, because they lived such stark lives. And I really almost expected the couple, when the boyfriend comes in the picture, to show us that picture as well. It had so much resonance for the American farming and abandoned communities. Were you aware of that when you were making it? Or was your DP aware of it when he was shooting it?
No, not really. I think like in the novel there are a lot of flashbacks, so it is a lot more about Eastern Germany.
Aha.
And I think like you still have that background setting now in the film that you see like what I talked before, that the father is an alcoholic, for example, but I think that a lot of these topics apply to a lot of situations in many countries, and it's like about living in the countryside a lot, and I think there's a lot of problems that are very similar.
Yeah.
I think
So,
what I just wanted to add is my strong connection to the character Christine was also that I know myself in situations when I know what I want maybe, but I'm not able to be active in like reaching that goal. I think everyone kind of knows this situation of lack of motivation or whatever. And yeah, it's something that you find in the city as well. So for me, I just wanted to add that it's
yeah, really
generation, I guess, more.
whole generation. It was very interesting when the engineer, the wind engineer, says to her, well, what's your dream? And she says, city life, an apartment of my own, a joint of my own. What kind of a joint? Oh, it doesn't matter. She had kind of an aimlessness, but she also knew what she wanted. So what was it she was craving? Was it simply freedom?
I think first she just wants not to be there. I think
Yeah.
that's her first aim actually, and then it becomes a little bit blurry after that. I think she knows that she wants to live in a city, and but I think like nobody really has ever asked her what she wants.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's part of the problem why she answers in that way, because nobody was interested in that. And it's like you grow up in that village and then you might marry a farmer and then you just live there, and then people ask questions when you will have your first child, but not are you actually happy in your situation right now? And I think that is what makes her aims so blurry, that she isn't really used to exploring them.
Yes. Yes. And her best friend, Caro, she also wanted to escape. Did she in fact escape? I'm curious because she disappeared, right? Did she escape?
Yeah, I mean, she's like with somebody else now. I don't know.
With the Greek.
It's like with a different guy, but she's not really. Yeah,
So
it's not a perfect escape, but
always trying to escape, and it doesn't work out. But that
yeah,
was
I think it's really a topic for young women on the countryside, and really problem for young male too, because there are like no women left.
oh
That is really a topic that I think that the men are stuck a lot more to the traditions, and also are more stuck in the country, and that women are more active and more going away.
very interesting. Yes, I would. Yeah, thank you. Also, did she set fire to the barn?
What I really liked about the book, and what I guess we also tried in the movie, was that there's some moments in the book, like with the dog, but also with the barn, and also with the calf on the field, where you read it and you don't think much about it, but then you, at one point, you're like, oh fuck, I need to go back. And did she murder the calf, or did she burn the barn, or what did just happen? It's part of, I think, for me, her mindset as well, because how to say, so I was really struggling with understanding her in the beginning, because a lot of times I was angry at her, or was like, why is she doing that? I don't understand. But then we did character interviews, and in the character I could always answer, not with many words, but even if it was just like, I don't know, or I don't care, then it was the answer that was enough to connect with the character and to tell this story in that way. It helped me a lot to compare her to a teenage girl. I mean, it's different completely because she's in her mid-20s and not a teenage girl anymore. But in a way, she behaves similar because she doesn't really reflect. She doesn't know who she is, what she wants. And so, yeah, I really like it if you ask yourself the questions if she did something or not afterwards, because this is the, this is her.
That's very interesting. Thank you. This is so insightful into her character and how well she carries the movie. We're going to wrap, but I just have one last question, and that is, she's escaped, she's in her car, and you see this smile just starting. Do you think she made it out? Do you think she liberated herself from this horrible place?
For me, I think at least she managed to drive away. I don't know what will happen afterwards. I hope that she will be happy. So for me, it has a positive ending, although I don't know what might be in 6 months.
But she did it. Congratulations. Yeah. Yes. And thank you. On that note, you both have been so helpful in giving me the insights about this movie, a fabulous movie, and I congratulate you on making this character really a fascinating, fascinating character. Thank you.
Thank you very much.